Hello and welcome to episode 5 of our Travel Philippines series. This time we are going to Palawan. We took a Cebu Pacific flight from Manila to Puerto Princesa. And as the plane is taking off, you can see the great view of Manila skyline as well as the smog. I'm not 100% sure what this was. It's probably because of the hot weather and the air conditioner in the airplane. I was a little worried at the time, but nobody else seemed to be worried. So at the end, everything was okay. We had no problems with the flight. And touchdown in Puerto Princesa. The guard at the airport didn't like me taking picture with the airplane, waved me off right away. But here we're at the airport, and Palawan is the land of the fancy tricycles. They had the Bentleys of the tricycles over there. They seemed to look almost like cars. People really spend the time to make them look good. They weren't looking. You can see tricycles everywhere, but on the island of Luzon, they didn't look nearly as good. So we're going to Sheridan Beach Resort and Spa, which is located at the small village of Sabang. That is approximately 75 kilometers from Puerto Princesa Airport. And the resort does offer a shuttle, but the shuttle is not free. You still have to pay on top of your reservation. And you do have to request it. The shuttle will not wait for you there. The other option you have, of course, is you can rent a car, but the 75 kilometers turns into almost 2 hours drive. And you drive through Puerto Princesa and the countryside in Palawan. We chose this resort because we wanted to go to the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park. We want to visit the Subterranean River. And the point from where you get the boat to go to the Subterranean River is the village of Sabang. And also the village of Sabang has a huge beach with only 2 resorts on there. So we decided to stay in one of them. The driver was too nice to stop on the way there, and we took this few pictures with incredible views with the sunset. And this is the beach at the resort. You have a huge beach, and you pretty much have it for yourself. This is one of the perks of going there. It is very remote, so it's not too many people. There are other beaches as well. If you want to walk a little bit, you can have literally a beach just to yourself. if you wanted to visit the subterranean river, you could also stay in Puerto Princesa. But to go visit the river, you would have to take a 2-hour drive with a van, then another hour or 45 minutes with a boat before you get there, and then you have to take that on the way back as well. Now, you can see a few pictures of the resorts itself here. If you are a fan of 90 Day Fiancé, you may recognize it. This is where Ed and Rose went. The resort has one really long pool going through the whole resort with shallow and a little bit deeper parts. There is a bar in the middle, and the bar is in the water, so you would be waist deep in the water as you're ordering your drink. I'm not sure how late it was open. You can see it in the back here, people sitting in the water ordering their drinks. I always seem to see people there, and again, I'm not sure how late it is open, but I think it was pretty late. They had a little bit small ropes in the room for me, and as well as small flip-flops. I didn't complain about it. I didn't see if they had anything bigger. I was just having fun with it. Again, the biggest perk about going there is the remoteness and the fact that you have a beach pretty much for yourself, as well as the proximity to the subterranean river. The resort is very well lit at night, and we were very surprised to find out that there was no electricity coming into the village of Sabang at the time. There was no electricity in a radius of 40 kilometers. A solar power plant was being built to supply the village, and you can see the solar plant here. So this is in 2019. It was supposed to be ready later on in the year, so it should be ready by now. But at the time, the resort had to supply their own electricity by generators and their own solar panels. The generators were for the air conditioning. So they did not have ATM. So it's you better bring cash, because ATM you can find you have to go all the way back to Puerto Princesa. Another thing, the internet is very, very slow. They do have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, but it is very, very slow. You cannot upload pictures or videos on Facebook. You can barely even go through your feed. You can open emails and stuff, but it's not much of an internet. The resort is expensive. It wasn't cheap, but don't expect too much of luxury. It is expensive because it is remote. For example, if you look at the previous episode of our series, Club Punta Fuego was much more luxurious, but it was even a little bit cheaper than this one. Again, it's all about the remoteness, and our flight back to Manila was a little bit delayed. But other than that, it was an amazing trip. Thank you very much for spending the time today. In the next episode, we are going to go to the subterranean river. So stay tuned. Thank you very much again for spending the time, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye. Touchdown.